In the time that we have been involved in this project, we've built two 25-story towers. All right. Every morning we get up, it costs us $11,000 to turn that alarm clock off. Every single day. And I've had it up to here with this. I really have. You know, we come, we try to advance this project in good faith. We try to produce a project that is of good scale, good quality, good character, that produces something for this town. This town has a financial crisis. I don't have a financial crisis other than this project, all right? We tried to come up with a total approach to this project that gives you something that you're proud of as a town, that contributes to this town, in both in financial context, in architectural context, in commercial support. All right? We can't advance this. There's a fundamental decision. Our MSP or MUOD, whatever you want to call this damn thing, is ready to be filed. It was put together with two entrances, all right? One in, one out.
Right? Why file it?
Okay. Because fundamentally we have now been told that you have a bias that it's only one entrance that you want. That redesigns the entire project.
That?
You.
I absolutely did
okay,
not.
Good.
If you're ready to file, what's preventing you from filing?
Because we do not have the ability to do this project one more time.
We're not going to go.
We're not going to do it. So we are at the point now where we've expended more than enough money. We've expended more than enough time. We've expended, and we appreciate all your collective efforts. But at this point, I think we as a development team have to make a decision whether we are prepared to advance this project any further, whether it's $400,000 or $403,000. This is a lot of money. I'm not up for continuing this effort any further. We are of a mind at this point to just withdraw this whole thing, let everybody go back, have their lives, call it a day, all right? And we'll either continue as a commercial venture with the office, or we will go back to doing the 40B, and that's it. All right? I'm not going to do this anymore. I've had enough. All right? So at this point, we are withdrawing. No more. Police and Wayne can do what they want. Ken, we appreciate his efforts. Kevin's his efforts. But this is it. You know, for this board to try to, grab another $3,000 or $4,000 when we're trying to advance the project is more than enough. So,
I hope that that will not be the case. It's obviously your position as an applicant to do that. But we would be remiss if that happened. I'm dumbfounded for words, especially over, we're talking about $3,000 here. We're not asking for it. I'm not asking for it. I think that was something that was suggested by Frank as some way to get over this. I think we just heard. I see a majority of the Board of Selectmen here saying, let's let our consultants talk. I see a split board of Road Commissioners, 2-2, that's just no vote taken, I acknowledge it, that say, 2 say let them talk, 2 say don't let them talk. And the planning board doesn't no, I mean, with regard to...
Don't put words in my mouth, Joe. That's not what I said. I'd like to go back to something that Dean said. If he wants to advance the project, make his filing and let the project continue to move forward. The planning board has met every threshold that they have to meet. The Board of Road Commissioners is waiting for filing. We've suggested that the filings be made several times to the developers. We don't have a filing in front of us yet. The planning board doesn't have a filing. They've made an aggressive schedule to try to get this thing done before the election, and they're doing everything in their power to do that, but there's no filing. And if you're ready to file, I don't understand why you don't file.
Mark, the developers have stated publicly several times, why they haven't filed up to this point in time. And in fact, the conditions that were agreed upon a month ago have not yet been met. And Chuck, you can speak to it if you like. There's a letter dated January 9th from 20 Wayland. It explains it further.
Chairman, point of order. I think we were talking about a much more limited question, which is whether the consultants had the ability to speak to one another directly. And I would suggest that, with all due respect to Mr. Tully and people who were just interrupted, we cannot control whether the developer files. So what we have before us is a draft of a traffic study. We have 2 consultants who are prepared to sit down I would submit it's going to be less expensive if we let the two technical people talk to each other, identify areas of agreement, areas of disagreement, bring in the staff after they've disposed of what they can dispose of without direction from the town, as they continue, unless we hear from the developer that they're pulling the plug. That would be my suggestion.
And I agree with that, but I would also state, if we step back and look at the big picture, which I think is what Dean is reacting to, is that our town and our boards have to start acting, behaving in a manner which suggests to the developer that this is going to happen and they're not wasting their time. It's as simple as that.
I have to say that that's how the board feels as well, Michael.
Well, and then you also said when Dean said he was going to pull the plug, that that's fine with you. Well, it's not fine with me, because 80% of the town voted for this project, and I'm not going to sit here and, as a board member, and
Joe, it's
what?
not that I don't want the
Well, you said it's
project.
fine with me. I
I'm
what you saying. What I'm
exhausted.
saying,
We
I
are
am
all
too.
exhausted. We
Gentlemen,
have put in
you're on
thousands
television.
of hours.
But what I'm saying is, it's not fine with me. 80% of the town came out and voted. I've heard it said that only 8% of the town showed up at the field. So most people that ever showed up at town meeting, ever, standing 1,000 in the rain to get in to speak on this subject. And if we let this get go because we're worried about how the prospect of how the process. No, let me finish my point. When I tried to set up tonight, I must have got 15 emails about when public comment was going to be, and another 10 phone calls on top of it. You know, let's pull ourselves together, make decisions, and move forward. And I think that we want to put this applicant in a position to make a sound submission. And that submission, apparently, by the professionals' experience and by a lot of people's experience, it should have two axes. Well, if we want to put in a position to do that, we need to allow these consultants to talk about that and make a refined submission. It would be criminal if this thing gets pulled out after all this effort on behalf of
Joe, I have to
us
say that this is not that.
and the town.
There is one issue after another issue after another issue. The development agreement was negotiated. They had opportunities to lay things out that they wanted to. Every time we get to a point where it's time for a filing to move the process forward, the developer has more conditions. I don't have a problem with some of the conditions. I just think that we have to get to the bottom line, and we have to keep stopping this creep. That's what I refer to it as, a creep. We've got to get to a point where there's a filing in front of us, we can make decisions on the filing, and the project can go forward.
But we seem to be deaf to what the developers have been telling us for a month and a half now. There are certain concerns and conditions that they discussed with the Board of Selectmen, the Planning Board, the town, and they've said it so many times, and my understanding is they have not all yet been addressed. And again, I'll go back to what I said a minute ago. We as a town, as boards, have to start behaving in a manner which will give the developers the confidence and the comfort level that once they submit their filing, that this is going to happen.
That would be fine if there was a nice, working, open relationship between all the boards and the developer as well.
Annette, you and I both know, you and I both know that we would not tell the developer explicitly that they will be allowed to withdraw this project without prejudice, number one. Number two, you and I both know that we have not made an explicit statement that regular members can participate in the hearing process. Number three, we have to take responsibility as a planning board. And if we don't, I can perfectly understand their reactions.